Hello, everybody. I am Quinn Bradlee, and I wanted to thank you, David, for being here. It means a lot. You didn't learn to read until the third grade, and when you found out that you had dyslexia, how did that affect you?
Well, when I was in third grade, I knew that I couldn't read very well, read very slowly, a lot more slowly than my classmates did. But no one that I knew of had ever heard of the word dyslexia. And I didn't actually get diagnosed with dyslexia until decades later. And it was when one of my children, Christopher, he was tested and diagnosed with dyslexia. And they said it was often hereditary. And so they tested the two of us and quickly discovered that it was me that had the dyslexia.
So that leads me to my next question. How did your dyslexia affect you in school, and what was the most difficult for you?
I grew up in a small farming community in northern Illinois. And in that time, it was perfectly fine not to be able to read very well. And so I didn't suffer any sense that I wasn't as smart as the other kids, or that there was some kind of defect that I had to worry about. Things changed a lot. My sons, they grew up in an environment in which reading skills were highly prized. For them, it was, I think, much harder to adapt and to adjust. I remember one of my children coming home from school, and he was in fourth grade, and saying, "Daddy, I'm stupid." He wasn't stupid, he was very smart. But he felt stupid because he couldn't read.
So you having dyslexia, there's a lot of reading required with law. How do you handle that, and what are the strategies that you use?
One of the things that dyslexia does, I think, is it helps you develop compensating skills. And one of the compensating skills is the ability to listen. Law school is actually where you probably read the most. You probably read more in law school than you do actually practicing law. And one of my adapting techniques in law school was to be sure I attended class and listened.
I've read that you have somebody who helps you with your notes. Have you ever felt embarrassed because of that?
It doesn't really embarrass me. I have people in court that help me do all sorts of things. They help me find documents, they help me find cases, they point things out, and helping me with my notes is just, another aspect of it. Law, particularly the trial of big cases, is really a team exercise. It's not a one-man show.
You've been involved in a lot of high-profile cases, and the media has called you the lawyer that everyone wants. What do you think of that? And do you think that your dyslexia is responsible for you being such a good lawyer?
I think my dyslexia has helped me in a number of ways. To begin with, the fact that I have difficulty reading notes. I had to learn to speak without notes. And what I did was I would learn to figure out what the key points were. That taught me to speak without notes, which in court can be much more effective. It also taught me to organize my thoughts in a clear and comprehensible way. That also can be a powerful tool. So I think there are lots of things that have helped me be a much better lawyer than I might otherwise have been, that have come out of things that I had to learn to adapt to my reading issues.
Well, you kind of answered my last question for me, but if there was any advice you could give to any parents or young adults who have just been diagnosed with dyslexia, what would you give them?
Be patient. The real tragedy of dyslexia is that young people suffer from it at a time when two things are happening. One, they are at their most vulnerable in their adolescence. And second, it is the time when they are expected to absorb the most, to read the most. And so at the time that they're most vulnerable, the reading skill is the most important it will ever be in their life. And it's very easy for children to sometimes get discouraged, and for parents to get discouraged. If they just take a longer view, they can understand that After that period, there'll be a time when reading is a lot less important, and when the processing ability and the ability to think and create is going to be what's dominant. If you can just be patient through a very, very difficult time for yourself, if you're a child with dyslexia, for your parents, you can come out the other end. And what you find at the other end is that you're just like everybody else, because what you've had to overcome, you have overcome.
David, thank you so much. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks, it's been great.
Me too.
Thanks very much.